opener is going to be one of our favorite people, Fat Electrician, doing... This looks like it's an interesting thing. A World War II veteran versus the HOA. Van T. Barfoot. So, we're gonna open with this. So I think this, I am curious because, like, a veteran versus a homeowners association. I hate homeowners associations, by the way. I fucking hate them. So I cannot wait to see what happens with this. So let's check it out.
A video where I finally get to talk about the military while simultaneously bashing on Karens and HOAs all at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, the year is 2009. It's December, and it's been one of the craziest years in recent history. Barack Obama has just been inaugurated president. The record for the highest grossing movie of all time has just been shattered by Avatar. The #1 song of the year is the Black Eyed Peas' Boom Boom Pow. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, has passed away, and Kanye West is now famous for interrupting Taylor Swift during the VMAs. And on top of...
And who would have thought... Hang on. And who would have thought that this would have transitioned to him becoming, like, just a nut job? Anybody see this coming? Because, I mean, the fact that he did this... Anybody surprised? Yeah, well, sadistic, 2009 was a hell of a drug.
And on top of
exactly,
all of that,
baby.
It's been one of the worst economic years for America since the Great Depression, with unemployment peaking at 10% and the housing market down 30%. And despite all the craziness going on in the world, in Richmond, Virginia...
Wait, 2009, was this the year of the crash? Was 2009 the year of the housing? Was that when the housing crash happened? Or was it just after the housing crash? So it was the year after the housing crash. They were still trying to recover from it. Yeah. Well, yeah, it started in 2006, but the crash actually occurred in 2008. And so in 2009, they were still trying to recover for it because, like, I think it took, like, didn't it take, like, 5 years to recover from that housing crash, I think, before you actually started seeing recovery? Yeah.
A 90-year-old man still takes time out of his day to walk out of his house every morning and hoist the American flag on the 21-foot flagpole in his front yard.
Yes,
Later
we are,
that morning,
Tysel.
he'd walk right past that flagpole on his way to the mailbox to get the mail. And in the mail that day, he would receive a letter from a high-powered law firm informing him that he was hereby ordered to remove that flagpole and never fly the American flag in his front yard again, due to, and I quote, aesthetic reasons relating to curb appeal. And I know what you're thinking, how on earth...
Oh, this is gonna be so bad. And that lone wolf guy, thank you for the follow. This is gonna get so bad. Saying that having the American flag fly in America is not aesthetically appealing for curb appeal. Oh, this is gonna get good.
earth can you order somebody in America to not fly the American flag in their own front?
Hang on.
Thinking, how on earth can you order somebody in America to not fly the American flag in their own front yard? Well, unfortunately, this gentleman lived in an HOA, a homeowners association, which if you don't know is basically diet communism. It's where a bunch of people build some nice houses.
And that's why I said I know this is gonna get good, because he just said the magic words. If he says it 2 more times, I think he's gonna show up at my apartment.
Then they get together and they're like, hey, we got all these nice houses. You know what we need? More government. We've got federal, state, county, municipal. It's not enough. We need even more rules. We should come together, designate a tribunal of elder Karens to make all the important decisions for us, you know, like whether or not I'm allowed to park my truck in front of my house overnight, what colored flowers I'm allowed to grow in my garden, and what color I'm allowed to paint my fucking house, you know, to protect our property value. But it is on this day that the tribunal of Karens in charge of the Sussex Square HOA in Richmond, Virginia are about to find out the hard way that they have picked a fight with the wrong guy, because this is not just any old man. This is retired Army Colonel Van T. Barfoot, a combat...
Oh, and he's a colonel. He is a combat colonel.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Communism, communism, communism. This stream need more chubby electrons.
Oh, Alex, I know it's gonna get better. And I cannot wait for it.
Veteran with 35 years of service and the recipient of a Silver Star, a Bronze Star, 2 Army Air Medals, the Legion of Merit, 3 Purple Hearts, and the Congressional Medal of Honor. Born in 1919...
This man is a fucking Medal of Honor winner? Oh, these Karens are so fucked. You do not fuck with a Medal of Honor winner. Yeah. You do not fuck with a war hero, because the minute those Karens try to fuck with that war hero, the moment any military detachment in the area hears that some stupid fucking HOA Karen is... Okay, I'm making a prediction. I'm going to make a prediction. These Karens are going to try to fuck with them, and either he is going to make a phone call, or the nearest army base is going to catch wind of this, and they are going to see a fucking troop or battalion show up on at the front doors of these HOA members going, "You done fucked up." I'm making that prediction.
Van would grow up in Mississippi during the Great Depression as a one-quarter Choctaw Native American farm kid. Then, in 1940, at the age of 21, he would volunteer to join the U.S. Army. He would achieve the rank of sergeant by 1941, and then Pearl Harbor would happen. In 1940, the United States Army had 269,000 soldiers, and by the end of 1941, it had 1.4 million. And with now Sergeant Barfoot being a non-commissioned officer in a leadership role, he is one of the few people that America and the world would turn to train and lead all these new recruits into the largest war the world has ever seen. And that is exactly
Hang on, I
what
want to
Sergeant
test
Barfoot
something.
did, leading his men through
Okay,
3
cool.
amphibious
Just
landings
testing.
at Sicily, Salerno, and Anzio before his entire unit would begin fighting their way inland through Italy. Then at the small town of Carano, Italy, Barfoot and his entire company would be stopped in their tracks. In order to advance further inland, they were going to have to go through the mountains. But in those mountains, the Germans had established fortified fighting positions, and there was seemingly no way through. Over the course of the next several weeks, Barfoot would lead his squad through scouting missions, trying to find any possible way through the German defenses, but there were none.
Okay.
Every single possible pass through the mountains, Germans had laid down a minefield, covered that minefield with fortified machine gun positions, and on top of that, they obviously had the high ground. After being halted for over a month, the order would finally come down that Barfoot's company is to just attack, run face first into the German defenses, and try to fight their way through it. Now,
Oh, hang on. One of the rentals I own is just the other side of the fence from an HOA. They kept taking me to court because the renters were not complying with their HOA rules, even though the house is an HOA. Got tired of them, slapped them with a $10 million harassment suit, settled for $500K, got a guarantee they would never sue me again if they do become instantly liable for the remainder. Nice. Nice, Andrea. That's the way to handle it. That is the way to fucking handle it.
Now, if you watched last week's video, you know that trying to fight fortified machine gun positions with the high ground is an absolutely terrible idea. If you didn't, there's this guy, Jake McNasty McNeese. Him and 34 men successfully beat 700 Germans in a firefight because they had fortified machine gun nests and the high ground. And this time around, the Germans have that plus a minefield. This is borderline a death sentence for Van's entire company, and everybody knows it. Now, Sergeant Barfoot believed that leaders should lead from the front and be willing to die for their men if necessary, which is the politically correct way of me telling you that Barfoot's about to do some gangster shit. He goes to the company commander and is like, hey, we're all gonna die anyways. Let me go out there with just me and my squad. We'll try to traverse the minefield, get in there, take out all the machine gun positions just by ourselves. Company commander's like, I mean, we're all gonna die anyways. Fuck it. Why not throw a Hail Mary, give you a shot? So that's exactly what they do. Barfoot takes off like a bat out of hell, leading from the front, not checking to see how far behind his men are. He then makes it all the way through the minefield, jumps into the ditch, looks behind him. His men haven't made it yet. Doesn't matter. Gotta keep pressing forward. He gets to the first enemy machine gun emplacement, throws a grenade in there, blows up, bang, goes in to check, just anatomical confetti everywhere. Nobody survived. No.
Or what I like to call return to original factory configuration, or return to pre-factory assembly configuration.
None of his squad mates have made it yet, but he hasn't heard a mine blow up in the background, so they must be okay. They're just being overly cautious. He advances to the second machine gun emplacement, rushes in, kills 2 Germans, the other ones surrender. At this point, Barfoot's squad catches up with them. Apparently 2 of them have gotten hurt while traversing that minefield, at which point Barfoot's kind of just like, fine, whatever, just stay with the prisoners, I'll take care of it. Just complete dad energy of like, hold the flashlight and stay out of the way.
It's just like, fuck it, we're doing it live kind of energy. He's like, fuck it, I'll do it myself.
I'm fucking working. He advances to the 3rd enemy machine gun position completely by himself. Bear in mind, these Germans heard a grenade, a bunch of submachine gun fire, Germans screaming, and now there's just boss music playing, and it's getting louder as Van gets closer and closer. Van turns the corner, the Germans are like, fuck this, I quit, I surrender, I give up, you win. At this point, Sergeant Barfoot has effectively saved the day. His entire company now does not have to bum rush a minefield and a bunch of fortified enemy machine gun positions. Hooray. So Sergeant Barfoot changes gears, hops into the old leadership role. He starts consolidating everything, figuring out how many POWs he has, whatnot. And then a couple minutes later, the Germans launch a counterattack, and 3 German tanks come rolling down the road directly towards
boy.
At this point, Barfoot continues to dad dick the entire situation, just like, give me the bazooka, stay in the trench, I got this. Gets out, walks out in front of these tanks, wide open, no cover, no concealment, nothing. Just standing out there like it's fucking Tiananmen Square with a bazooka, shoots at the first tank, knocks it out. The other 2 tanks are just kind of like, I mean, it's one crazy American with a bazooka standing in the open. This is for sure a trap, right? So they turn around and retreat. Now, just so we're all on the same page, this man has sprinted through a minefield, cleared 3 German machine gun nests, killed 8 Germans, captured 17 more, and knocked out a tank in the span of like 45 minutes. And he's like,
Jesus!
I can do more. So he advances further into enemy-held territory by himself, finds a German artillery emplacement, proceeds to blow that up too, and then he's like, okay, that's probably enough for today. And he goes back to his men. He then proceeds to get his men and all of the POWs back to the company, and he himself personally carries his 2 wounded men back 1,700 yards.
Oh
and that's
my
it. That's the end of the
God.
story. That was like Tuesday to this guy, and he just goes on fighting through the rest of World War II like it was nothing. A couple months down the road, his entire unit's in...
Okay. I mean, yeah, certified badass. Like, holy shit, this... I know he's done another video where he calls someone the real-life Rambo, but holy fuck, is this not Rambo right now? Jesus. Yeah, absolutely. This generation was 100% built fucking different. And Failsplay, thank you for the continuation of this sub. Thank you very much.
France, the commander walks up to him and is like, congratulations, you're receiving the Medal of Honor. At which point, Barfoot requests that he receives it in the field in front of his men. He didn't want to wait till they got home and had a ceremony. He didn't want it in front of friends or family or Congress people. None of that. He wanted it in front of the men that nominated him to get it because that's what meant the most to him. He didn't really...
Holy fuck. Not only the badassness on this, but the respect. The respect he's showing towards his men. Like, I don't want this reported to me in front of a bunch of fucking, like, other than family. A bunch of people that I don't fucking know and that all they care about is just parading me around as a symbol of greatness. I want this done in front of the very people that made this possible. I want to show my gratitude to the people who made this possible by having the work done with them. Like, holy fuck. They do not make soldiers like this anymore. They don't. They, like... I mean, there are great soldiers in the modern military. There are. I'm not saying that all soldiers in the military are pussies nowadays or anything. I'm not saying that at all. But I really feel like America had its best in, like, overall. America's shining examples of the military peaked in World War II. that is where the shining example of someone in the military peaked, I feel like. And we have yet to really see that level of peak since, at least that I have heard. And Justin, thank you for the follow. Yeah, yeah. I mean, World War II was probably the last battle, the last war where, yeah, it was like America did not have a superior fighting force. Actually, no. Well, yeah, war. Yeah, the last war where America did not have a superior fighting force. Vietnam, you could make the argument. But Vietnam was not actually a war. It was an engagement. Okay, DJ. But yeah, World War II was the last war the United States was involved in, where it wasn't just a foregone conclusion that the U.S. would win if they just went full out. Yeah, policing action. Yeah, policing action, an engagement, whatever you want to call it. It wasn't actually a declaration of war. And lonely. I hope you won't be lonely here. We are a growing community, so I hope you're not going to be lonely here.
Care about the medal itself. He cared that the men that he was tasked with leading into battle thought so highly of them that he thought he deserved that medal, and that's why he requested that he receive it.
Correct, Doc, yes.
He would go on to make it through the war in one piece and return home as a Medal of Honor recipient and war hero. At this point, Lieutenant Barfoot then goes on to serve throughout the entire Korean War, seeing it through to its completion. He has now served 20 years in the military, and it's time to retire.
Wow, World War II and the Korean War. Holy fuck, this man has had a distinguished career. Like the entirety of the Korean War? Jesus. Oh, this is gonna get so good. Well, yeah, I mean I mean it was very shortly after. Well, that's what I mean, sadistic. This is gonna get so good here in a moment. I cannot wait.
Most people would say, but Barfoot, on the other hand, is like, fuck it, I just need to do something new, something exciting, maybe a little bit easier on my knees. This whole light infantry thing isn't as light as I heard it was. I want to go ahead and be a helicopter pilot. So he goes to Army Aviation School as a major, and at the age of 40, ends up being one of the top helicopter pilots the Army has, and then he goes on to serve in Vietnam as a helicopter pilot. Okay,
holy shit.
If you don't know, during Vietnam, like most dangerous jobs, tunnel rat, helicopter pilot, door gunner, hands down, not even a question, serves throughout the entire Vietnam War, comes back home, finally retires after 35 years in service, and achieving the rank of colonel. He then goes on to finish out the rest of his working life as a military contractor. Now, military contractor, that could mean anything. He could be serving food at the chow hall, he could be sitting in an office giving people advice, writing manuals. He could be doing some extracurricular gangster shit. We really have no idea. However,
okay, my money's on the extracurricular gangster shit. And goddamn, you can't tell me otherwise. This man was a gangster merc after he retired. You cannot convince me otherwise. There's no way that this man retires and goes into this level of profession and was not a fucking merc. No fucking way.
However, I will point out it's a little bit odd that some dude from Mississippi decided to put his roots down in Richmond, Virginia, which is like, I don't know, an hour away from CIA headquarters. Like, you do what you want with that information, I guess.
Run, Nick! They're coming for you! They're coming for you! Run!
Then, after a career of doing some extracurricular gangster shit, contracting, he would go on, retire, and live happily ever after until one day in December of 2009, when at 90 years old, he would open a letter informing him he was not allowed to fly the American flag in his own front yard, which, bear in mind, literal Nazis with machine guns couldn't stop him from flying the American flag in Germany in the 1940s. Yep. And now you're going to try to tell him he can't do it in fucking Virginia in his own front yard. It's a bold strategy. So the next day, Colonel Barfoot's son-in-law calls up the local radio show. They run with the story. It gets picked up nationally almost immediately. Everybody from the White House press secretary to Fox News to the local VFW is absolutely furious. Okay, stop. At this point in time, it's 2009. Barack Obama's president. Do you understand what I've just told you? This HOA is fucked up so bad that they've got the Obama administration and Fox News to agree on something, okay? This is a critical...
Wait. They got Barack Obama and Fox News to agree on something, and we did not experience a singularity that ruptured the entire space-time continuum? That in itself is a miracle.
Critical fucking error on their part. The HOA would end up backing down within a week because apparently when the entire nation is looking at you like the Eye of Sauron, it ends up being bad for the aesthetics and curb appeal of your little neighborhood. And then the law firm that wrote the letter in the first place has since renamed and rebranded their entire law firm, and it's been signed into Virginia state law that no HOA can tell anybody to not fly the American flag on their property. Colonel Barfoot, proving victorious yet again, would then go on to fly the American flag in his front yard every single day for the next 2 years until passing away in his home at the age of 92. And as of March 2023, Fort Pickett in Virginia has since been renamed to Fort Barfoot in his honor. So in conclusion, whether it's a little old man at the restaurant eating ice cream for dessert, your friendly neighborhood mailman, or just some elderly gentleman trying to fly the American flag in his front yard, try to be nice to everybody because you really might not know who you're fucking with. Thanks for watching. Best way to support the video is go buy some merch at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang.
Hi, Shadow Sparta.
I feel personally, and still feel personally, that I was doing my job. A leader is supposed to protect, lead, and sacrifice himself if necessary. I just can't imagine me ever fighting for a leader that wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't have to say it. 07 for this man. 07, Colonel Barfoot. Man. God, I love hearing about these war heroes that are unsung. If it wasn't for Nick. This is why I love watching Nick when you find out about these unsung war heroes that they just like their stories are just incredible.